Today we have our self-love transformational coach, Yolanda Miller. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this one. When someone mentions soft life, most of the time we equate it to money and luxury, which that is part, but truly soft life begins with self-love first, working through trauma and exploring the real joy of life. It's a life free of stress and full of purpose. My name is Miracle. I'm a business owner and educator. My guest and I would like to let you in on some soft life secrets. Welcome, Yolanda. I'm glad you're here at Soft Life Secrets. Tell us about your story.
This journey started for me because of a traumatic divorce.
Okay.
So I just really wanted to do something that can impact the world because there was so much that I went through after that just finding love and who I was again was a hard journey. I wish I would have had the tools that took me from point A to point B.
Right.
That new normal was just insane, physically, emotionally, and financially.
Right. Now, what I find interesting is that a lot of women go through divorce, and especially since this COVID thing happened, a lot of people are going through divorce. The divorce rate is so high right now. What advice would you give the women? Because a lot of people have lost themselves. Some people never imagine going through divorce or being single, period. And it's like a start over moment. What advice would you give these women?
I would definitely advise them to dig deep and remember something that made you happy. Think about a time where you felt really fulfilled, when you were doing something that you felt just pure joy.
Pure joy.
And find that, or maybe it's something that you haven't done before, but something you've always wanted to do. Okay. So really dig deep in yourself and be honest with yourself and take that time to self-reflect to say, what can I do for me as an individual? Right. That empowers you so much alone.
Right. I'm going to share a little secret with you. I actually went through a divorce through COVID, but here's what I found. I had to find how to love myself again because sometimes you lose your self-worth. And it's easy to do because you have people that will manipulate your mind, make you feel like, well, you ain't, wait a minute. Now I know I'm a bad.
Been there.
So it's like, how do you practice your self-compassion during the difficult times?
When it's really difficult, you really have to reframe your thought process. You have to know that, first of all, give yourself grace. Talk to yourself how you would talk to a friend that was going through something really hard.
Right.
And you have to know that those setbacks and things that you go through is a part of your growth. We won't grow without that.
Exactly.
And unfortunately that process isn't linear. There are going to be all kind of detours. Life is going to throw you things. And having that self-love for yourself doesn't mean that you're not going to go through things. It doesn't mean that everything's perfect. Right. But you have to give yourself grace. Right. It's okay not to be okay. And in those moments, you have those negative self-thoughts that start coming in.
Exactly.
Oh, it's my fault. Oh, I did this, or I'm not good enough. All those things, you have to really see if that's coming from a place of fear, or is it really your reality?
Right.
Really kind of discerning, like, what actually am I feeling?
Right.
But don't be judgmental with yourself either. If you feel it, feel it. It's okay. Some people are like, oh, I'm ashamed. I better not say that out loud. No, feel the feels, do all the things.
Well, coming from a two-parent household, my parents was married 58 years. So it's almost like going through a divorce. A lot of people look at it as failure.
Yes.
And I have a lot of friends that be like, how did you bounce back? Like, what are you, like, you haven't missed a beat. What do you feel like? Did you go through that period where you felt like you was a failure? Because how many years were you married?
I was married for 7.
7 years.
7 years. In the relationship for 12.
12 years.
7 years of marriage. You do feel like the shame is real. The shame, you have people that had no idea what you were going through behind the scenes, right? They look at you like, oh, you have the perfect marriage. Whatever you put out there is what people get.
Right.
The shame is really real.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a very normal emotion to go through.
Do you feel as though you married for the right reasons the first time?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know. I was 19 when I met this person.
Okay.
And married by the time I was 24.
Okay.
So
okay.
it was more that young love, and it was like that intense college, you know, all that kind of stuff. So in my mind, yes, at the time.
Okay. But you were young.
Oh, yeah. That 25 range, it's explosive, right? You learn a lot about yourself and where you are. People change.
Right.
And if you don't have a partner that can grow with you through your 20s, it usually doesn't last,
Okay.
right? Mm-hmm.
Okay. I agree. Alrighty. Can you describe how the divorce impacted your sense of self and how you began the process of rediscovering who you really were afterwards?
Oh my goodness, my sense of self was destroyed because that identity was wrapped up in another person, especially as a young woman.
Right.
You know, I lost my mom at a very young age. I was 15. So I didn't have a mother necessarily that was there teaching me all those things. I had some good support and some great, you know, family members that helped, but just, you know, having that rock that typically you have your mom, you know, behind you giving you all this.
Right.
I had to learn a lot of that along the way,
Oh my.
especially when you don't have successful images that you really look at. So
Right.
I lost myself, and it was just really hard because when I asked myself the question, who are you? I couldn't answer it. And I'm like, I don't know who I am. Like, how do I find this? So I really started digging deep and saying, what are some things that you wanted to do when you were married that maybe you thought society said, oh, no, you can't do that because you're married. Oh, you don't have time for that. What do you want to do? So I literally had a friend challenge me to do a half marathon. And I
Wow.
could not run. I could not do anything. And I thought to myself, what do you even wear to run 13 miles? Like, I didn't know.
Wow.
And I actually started training for it. The confidence that gave me took me, I was just like, who knew? You would think it sounds crazy, but joining a running club,
Right.
challenging myself to do something I had never done before, not only that, but accomplishing it. When I ran 13 miles straight, nonstop,
You ran?
yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just that confidence that it gave me. That was the beginning of I'm rediscovering who I am. I can do anything.
Right.
And I can do it by myself.
Right. Okay.
So,
Similar to you, I did a half marathon through a traumatic experience in my life. I had a miscarriage. So I went through, the only thing I could think about is I started training, found out that I was pregnant, and when I had the miscarriage, I had to, I had stopped training when I found out I was pregnant, had the miscarriage, and it was 2 weeks out from the half marathon, and I had been training with my friends. I went out there and ran that half marathon, and I swear, without the proper training, I did not know how I was going to do it, but that was my healing moment. And I used it as a healing. I was like, and the only thing, and I tell them, and some of them was like, we've been training all this time. You come out here and you run faster than us. I don't know how I did it. I couldn't walk for 2 days. 2 days I could not walk. I had to walk backwards down the steps. But I was determined to complete that task. And they didn't know why I was out there. They just was like, what? Because I never told anybody that, was pregnant at the time. Because, you're not supposed to tell nobody until you hit a certain trimester.
Yeah.
So it was encouraging and discouraging. But what kept me going, now, the reason I asked you, did you run the whole thing? I ran, walk. But what kept me going, a girl passed me, and on the back of her shirt, it had, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I was crying and running the whole way after that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I was at maybe mile 10. I was like, oh. And when I tell you, I was at that recovery, but I literally could not walk for 2 days. 2 days. But you never know what your body can do until you're faced with that. So that was good that you said that, because running is like my therapy.
Yep.
And I hate to run. I actually ran track.
Oh my goodness.
But I was a sprinter. So, distance, even now, my trainer's like, you gotta get some cardio in. I'm like, I hate it. But, okay, I digress. But were there moments when you doubted your ability to bounce back?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you have all of these great things happening. You see your progress, right? I'm getting confidence. I'm running now. I'm meeting new people. I'm out there. But then there were days, especially when you started dating.
Oh,
That's a whole other story. When you started getting back into the dating pool
baby.
and hadn't been out there in 12 years.
Yeah.
So my expectations, well, I guess I didn't have any because I didn't know. It was very discouraging, you know, and you start doubting, you know, am I really making the progress that I think I'm making? You know, am I really making the right thing? You're learning to trust yourself again, because when you make a decision to be with someone that doesn't work out, you're like, did I misread? Was I looking at? So now you're hyper focused on, am I looking at all the right things? Am I doing all the right things? So yeah, you have those moments of doubt. But here's the key. When you look back at your life, especially, you know, we're a little seasoned, look back at your life and you look at the other things that you've overcome. And what was the common theme? You were always okay. Everything always worked out in your best interest.
Everything.
So that calms you. You have to celebrate those wins. You're going to be fine. So that is what I use as my mechanism to say, nothing's failed you yet, girl. It's all good. So
Girl,
I'm here.
Nothing but the grace of God.
Yes, absolutely.
You got to
Nothing
have a
but
strong faith.
strong faith.
And believe in yourself.
Yes.
And so what I found out, even colleagues of mine who's been through a divorce, it seemed like they never picked the pieces up.
No.
Never picked the pieces up. I believe in self-care. I believe in self-love. And my friends will tell you, if it's a self-care day for me, don't interrupt, because
I love it.
I will go to the spa by myself. I will go to the bar by myself. I will go whatever it is that I want to do.
Yes.
If I want to have a drink, if I want to just a me time,
Yes.
I make sure I do that at least once a week.
That's awesome.
I have my self-care day.
It's needed.
What would you tell women, because you a self-love transformational coach, what would you tell people to do to get back that self-love, like the ones who feel like they have lost it? Because there's a lot of women out there that, you know, just let themselves go. You work out, you train, you do all this stuff. You got to love yourself before anybody else can come in and love you.
Exactly.
What would you tell them? How to, get your mojo back.
Exactly. Get your mojo back. I really want to talk about and meet them where they are. Like, I really talk to my clients, where are you now? What space are you in? And how did you get here?
Okay.
Because then we can start to build the pieces to get you back to where you need to be.
Right.
So it's really being honest. Like, you can tell the world whatever they want to hear.
Right.
But you got to be honest with me.
Right.
You have to be honest with yourself. So once you have that honest conversation, you can start putting a plan together and make it small, like micro thing. Like, making a major change is usually not good for people at one time. But when you take baby steps and you're able to celebrate, well, okay, what about the young lady that's like, oh, I really want to date, but I don't go anywhere, but I'm scared to take myself out on a solo date.
Baby, that right there. I really want to date, but I don't go nowhere.
Exactly.
I tell my friends all the time, the milkman don't knock on the door no more.
He doesn't. No. So you have to so I would tell that person, okay, well, let's just start by getting dressed. Just look good.
Look good.
Put on
Feel
something
good.
that feels good to you. Go to the grocery store with it. Go out, start doing little things. I know it sounds crazy and it sounds so minor, but those are things that really get in your head that I can do this. I'm doing this for me. I'm not dressing up for another person to see me. I'm doing this for myself. And once you start feeling that positivity for what you're doing for you, you take baby steps, and we're going to celebrate. You did what this week? Get out of here. No, like really. So okay, what we doing next time? We're going to go to Starbucks next time.
Right.
Then we're going to head down to Houston's by ourselves and have a drink at the bar. So you kind of just take those baby steps and celebrate them along the way.
So I know people want to know, because you are married now.
I am.
How did you meet your husband?
Online.
Wow.
Yes.
You hear this?
Yes.
You hear this? Online dating works for some.
It does. Yes.
You met him online.
I met him online in 2015. It could be frustrating, but once again, everything is about mindset. And if you have the right mindset while you're on, like if I did not have the proper mindset, I did not go online. I would just take a break. But when I was okay with soaking in the foolishness, having a little laughs and doing all that.
That's what it is.
Exactly. You're like, okay, I'm ready for some foolishness this month. Let me get, and you kind of, make it fun. Don't make it so, oh, I have to find him this week.
Right.
You just have fun with it.
I be playing.
Yes.
My friends be like, get offline playing, okay?
Yes.
Because it's funny to me, because I hate texting. So all of that back and forth, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous.
Yes.
But it works for some.
It does.
It didn't work for me. Because I don't have the patience. But I have a friend, and we laugh because I call her a serial dater because she loves the online dating. But
Yes.
I just can't get with it. But hey, ladies, it works. So if you're discouraged about online dating, what app were you on?
Tinder. What's the worst one? The worst one.
I love it.
I know, and I
love
just
it.
swipe it.
Swiping, and then you be getting excited, like, ooh,
You're like, oh yeah, baby. Oh my goodness, yeah. And just in your spare time, you just
love
do
it.
it, and you just take a chance. I mean, life is about chances. You could go to Target and meet somebody. You
Right.
can go. I mean, it's about chances.
It's about chances.
And so I took a chance, and I went out, and here we are, almost 8 years later.
8 years.
Yep, married. Yeah, we got married within 2 years right before our second year anniversary.
Okay.
So it really did work, and we didn't have a lot in common, but our differences really brought us together. So.
Wow. And from that union, you had a beautiful baby.
At 45, yes, I did. It can happen. Do not give up.
Do you hear her, ladies?
Do not give up. It can happen. I know it's cliche, and people say, oh, it really can happen.
Right. Well, Janet had hers at 50.
Yes.
With a little help.
Yes, exactly. And I
But-
did do IVF. Everybody, I did do IVF,
I'm not
so I had a little help.
I'm not against IVF because at our age, you may want to do IVF because you want to make sure you wing out any possibilities.
That's true.
You know?
That is so true.
Were you a high risk?
Yes, automatically after 35, you're considered high risk. So we had to do all the things to go through that. And my husband is 4 years younger than me. Oh yeah, a little younger than me too, like 4 years younger.
Got a little tender.
Yes. So,
Tender.
but it's also about having that person, because that's a very difficult journey as well in itself. So meeting someone that was okay with going through that, once again, emotional, financial, just all the things. So
Wow.
it's like finding that partner it was just icing on the cake for me, because I had already done the work to be okay with myself. But to find someone, I finally, did the work enough to attract who I was. Not who I think I was, but who I really was. And you just get different vibes from that.
Wow.
I
love it.
Different vibes.
You are beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, like, this story is amazing. I know a lot of people are going to be able to chime in and relate to you because this is our era.
Yes.
A lot of people are going through this. So, ladies, if, that's your desire of your heart, do not give up. I hear a lot of women say, oh, I don't need no man. I don't need this. I understand why they say it, but I also feel that God put us on earth for companionship.
I agree.
And he didn't put us on earth to be alone.
I agree.
So what would you tell people that have gotten in that mindset, like, oh, I don't need a man. I can take care, myself.
Yeah.
Which is a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
Because some people with that mindset, you shun off the good men.
Exactly. Exactly.
What
And
would
oh gosh, that's a loaded question, because our parents, especially like you said, this era, we were raised to, you better take care of yourself. You better be able to do it all alone. Like,
Exactly.
there was no happy medium to say, well, if he can come and do these things.
Right.
So I think too, as a society, we've become so hardened, and just with the dating pool and the men, that you're saying that just because it's just been a harsh world out there.
Exactly.
What you're dating.
You've been hurt.
Exactly. So
Traumatized.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So I don't need a man. No, we don't need it.
No.
We can totally take care of ourselves these days. We have great careers.
Right.
All the things, but most people have that desire. So I would say, number one, stop speaking that into the universe.
Right.
If you don't mean it, don't say it.
Right.
Because once you're putting that out there, the laws of attraction are already working against you. And God is hearing that. So, okay, you that's you don't want that? Exactly. Okay. So, start versus saying that is start speaking, I know I can take care of myself, but I desire to have a partner.
Right.
I desire to have someone to live this life with and do this journey with. So changing the narrative in your thinking, girl, mindset. That's what I would tell them. You start writing it. If you write it, you say it, you visualize it, you can do it. And there are things that are out of our control, absolutely. But what you can control is choosing how you're going to think that day.
Right.
What you're going to do that day. Life is 10% of what happens and 90% on how you handle it.
Right.
You can make that shift anyway. It's your choice.
Right.
So
I'm not independent. I'm not a strong, independent Black woman. I need help changing the light bulb. I need help bringing groceries in the house. I'm that woman now.
Yes.
I was sure I can do it. No, I can't. I can't do it. I can't do nothing. And it took for me to get to this age to realize, let a man be a man. A guy I was dating told me, he was like, when you're around me, you don't have to worry about nothing. Let me lead. And I was like, oh. Say that again. Like, it was attractive because I've never had anybody do, like, I would try to open the door.
Wow.
And it's the simple things.
Yep.
I don't mind opening that door. But it was the point where he ran in front of me, like, stop.
That's
push the door closed before, and it was like, relax. And I had to realize that, okay, when you with a man's man, let him be a man.
You have to. Because they have to, we get so strong sometimes just because we know we can do all the things, but you have to make them feel like they have a purpose.
Say it again.
You have to make them feel like they have a purpose. They are needed. If you cannot do that, you're going to miss out on a lot. You can make all the money in the world, have all the best career. Most men don't really care about that. They're like, okay, what can I do for you? They really want to serve you. Let them.
Right.
Yeah, let them. It's okay.
Listen to this. Oh my gosh. Okay. How did you start, and maybe we've tapped into this already, how did you start to redefine your identity outside of the relationship?
Yep. Okay. So piggybacking onto what we were saying before. So it started with the running, and then two more things that I really did. One, I started taking pole dancing classes.
Pole dancing.
I did. And the instructor was amazing. Part of my rebuilding my self-confidence, able to look in the mirror and say, girl, you are that girl. Like, you're beautiful. Like, who wouldn't want this?
Girl, you just fine.
Exactly. And I remember that instructor played such an instrumental part of my life because she really made us feel like we were special. She really made you start changing a thought process on your physical appearance.
Right.
You're trying to work on your mental, but you're fine. Don't compare yourself to what you're seeing on social media. Don't compare yourself to other people. You are you.
Social media got it twisted.
Oh, very twisted.
They got people messed up.
Insane. And so she was really instrumental in that. So that boosted my confidence a lot. Now, is that something that I may have done married? Which I would encourage you. If you're married, hey, look, make it saucy. Do it. Go.
Girl, I'm trying to drop it like it's hot.
Yes, it was wonderful.
Oh my gosh, pole dancing. And it's funny that you're talking about this because I was talking to a lady at the gym and she was telling me that that's her new hobby, pole dancing.
Nice.
Even though she works out, but she said it makes you feel sensual.
Very.
It makes you feel sexy, no matter how big you are or how small. And the moves just make you feel good about yourself.
It does. Talking about a confidence booster.
Oh my gosh,
You have to go. Exactly.
Sign me up.
It is wonderful. So that was one thing that helped. So the running, the pole dancing. The third thing I would say was a little bit more serious for me. So I lost my parents both to AIDS. My mom both to AIDS, yes. My mom at 15.
AIDS?
AIDS, yes. Wow. I did. I was 15 when I lost my mother. She was diagnosed in the late 1980s and she died in 91.
Wow.
And my father died when I was 29, so right before my divorce. So you have to think back to that time. A lot of stigma, a lot of shame, a lot of things going on at the time. So it wasn't something that I was very vocal about for so many years. It was like, oh, it was cancer. Oh, because I was embarrassed. You know, do you have it? Do you have it? Were you affected? So it was a very lonely journey to have to go through that.
Did you have family support?
I did from some, but likely so. A lot of people didn't really know what it was. So they were really, you know, I had some soldiers that was like regardless. And then you had some that I'm throwing away the dishes, so I'm not quite sure if I want, you know, it was a little hard. But I did have a good support system with some of my family members as well. But very lonely because I couldn't tell my friends. You're like, okay, you're going to go to school and tell them what so they can kick you out and start all this, you know. So you have to think about all the things that I was going through.
You're right. Because people were ignorant to it back then.
Very ignorant. Yeah. So for years, I just never spoke about how I lost my parents. People just, oh, Yolanda, you know, you don't have your parents anymore. So I said, you know what? I'm going to find an organization and I'm going to start raising money and I'm going to tell the world my story. So empowering. I linked up with Aid Atlanta, and I have done AIDS Walk Atlanta outside of COVID every year since 2008. And I'm walking on behalf of my parents. I have other family members that have been affected, but that was so freeing to me. And part of my identity, this is who I am. This is my story. This is why I am who I am, why I do what I do. I became a nurse because of my mother. Wow. You know, so that was the ultimate for me. And then when I start talking about it, people are like, me too. When you start talking about your divorce, me too. Me too. So we don't often talk about what we're going through, and you
not the bad stuff.
No. Look how many people we could be benefiting. So that changed a lot for me as well.
I'm very vocal about my failures because I feel like somebody can be, you know, heal from it or learn from it. Yes. I'm very vocal about it. And I feel like the reason I asked about your support system, because your support system is very, very important. Very important. I have 2 girlfriends that don't live here in Atlanta, and I don't talk to them every day. Shout out to Rashida and Brandy. But if they don't hear from me in a certain amount of time, they do wellness checks. They will fly in.
Yes, ma'am.
And say, are you okay? And they know from my voice what's going on. Yes. And when I was going through my divorce, I remember one of them coming down and I was like, why are you here? I didn't invite you. And so she said, something told me to come check on you. I was on the way to Florida and I'm going to do 2 days there. And when she came in the house, she started opening blinds and this and that. She said, it's very dark in here. Something is going on. And I didn't tell her what was going on. She made a phone call. My other best friend flew down 2 days later and they stayed a week with me, cleaned the whole house and was like, you get up. Something going on. And so, but they recognized and they waited for me to talk. And what they don't realize, that support system, they saved me in many ways because I had really didn't even know that I had went into a slumber, you know? Wow. I was in a sunken place, a dark space. Even the house was dark. Yes. To where she was like, when you walk through this door, your whole spirit changed. Yes. You know, she said, I can tell your demeanor. When we was outside, she was like, you're all glitty. And she said, open these blinds every day. She got me meditating every day and doing this stuff. So that's why I said the support system is real. If you have, somebody needs to know something, but your support system, even my mother couldn't see it, my family who lives here, because I'm very private person. Yes, very private. I keep everything to myself. So by the time they know what's going on, my mind's already made up. Yes. I've already processed it. I've done the research or whatever I'm gonna do. And so I had to, you know, start being more vocal. What would you tell people? Because some people don't have the support system. No, none at all. Or nobody, like you said, you lost your parents early. And then some people don't want to talk about certain things. What would you tell people? Do they need that one person they can rely on? Or because I don't think we should go through stuff by ourselves.
No, absolutely
We're not made to go through stuff alone.
Absolutely not. My advice would be, if you don't have that person, because it's very hard, especially in this day and time, to find people that you trust with such personal, sensitive information.
Right.
And like you, I have been very blessed to have a tight core of women that I could tell the craziest things, and they're like, okay, well, this is good, because I'm glad you're vocalizing it. But if you have nobody, I am a big fan of therapy. So that helped me tremendously too.
Right.
So throughout all the process, I'm telling you of all the things, all the work that I've done, it included therapy by a licensed therapist.
Say it again. Not by your girlfriend. A licensed
therapist. Exactly.
Yeah.
So a girlfriend and a therapist, hey, you winning.
Right.
You know, but I would definitely say, you know, have that perspective, because that's going to help you really dig back in your past and give you some reasoning as to why you've gotten to this point.
Right.
And then my job is to push you forward,
Okay.
keep the goals going, and keep, you know. So it's just very important to have the support, whether you find it in a therapeutic setting with a licensed person or with, you know, for a friend or family member.
Right.
But being alone, no, I agree with you
Right.
1,000%.
Why do you think people shun away from therapy?
You know, I think in recent years, people have gotten better about it, but it just was a stigma. Oh, you crazy. Oh, you don't need to pay for somebody to tell. You know, certain communities, it was more like shameful. Oh, you something wrong with you, you know, you can't. So I think that it was just a shame put on it. That people really didn't want to admit, oh, I need someone to talk to. I need to sit on someone's couch.
Right.
So, but now I think people are more open to it and find it more helpful to do so.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's needed.
Girl, give me a good couch, honey. I'm putting my
Exactly.
foot up. I'm like, hey, you got a glass of wine?
Absolutely.
Are you going to kick me out in an hour? Or can I stay two? Like, can I?
Exactly.
Because I want to get everything out the first go round. Like,
It's important.
it's so important.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that until I went to therapy. Girl, it was so
It was relief, right?
Yes! I mean, from the emotional, from crying to laughing to getting mad, like it was like all the emotions, but I loved every bit of it.
You do.
And I did not want to leave.
It was
She said, honey,
freeing. You got an hour?
I got more people coming. Book me again next week. I'm like, dang, he's just kicking me out, but I love it.
You
So
do.
where can people find you?
Okay, you can find me on IG, Instagram at DYM_now, discover your meaning now. And you can also find me on TikTok, but IG is the best place there. It has all my information. You can reach out to me via direct message. You can email me, and I'll be happy to help have a discovery call, kind of talk about where you are, if we would be a good fit to work together, how can I help you through your journey, all the things. I am super excited about the impact that this is going to make on people's lives, especially in the state of where we are with mental health. And, you know, if you don't have a cheerleader, I'm here. I'm going to be your biggest one here. So
there you have it, guys. The self-love transformational coach herself, Miss Yolanda Miller. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hey, oh my gosh. And I'm going to get your information.
Yes, please.
Because we may be newbie.
absolutely, absolutely. I would love that.
All right, y'all. Stay tuned to the next episode of Soft Life Secrets.